Well, hello there. Carol Dockum here with beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. And I am thrilled to continue our Business Spotlight series. And our special guest today is none other than Deborah Daniel, CPA, money and financial expert. She is the owner of Charter Accounting and Financial Services. And Charter Accounting offers assistance in budget preparation, financial estate and retirement planning, and also helping you set up your accounting systems and or evaluate them because they do need to work efficiently. She also helps with investments, tax planning, and also preparation. And who doesn't need help with that? So basically, Deborah is your CFO on demand. So welcome, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining us. I know.
I'm so glad to be here.
Really, who doesn't want to talk about money? Many people do talk about money, right? But few have built a multi-7-figure legacy. So it is so important as we are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, even small business owners. Money is what keeps our businesses running, right? So
exactly.
It is a subject matter that we do need to talk about. We do need to educate ourselves so that we are operating efficiently, right? in the profit area. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And I just can't wait to hear, your expertise and your golden nuggets and maybe where's a good place for a small business owner or entrepreneur to even start.
Right. Well, it's funny. A few things you said just brought up a few things that I say a lot. Money is not the most important thing, but it impacts everything that's important. And you made a comment that I often talk about a little bit. It's really, currency is kind of an old-fashioned word we don't hear very much, but the reason currency is related to money is it's because of the flow. It's that flow of money, like the current in water. That's what keeps things going, right? And that's the important thing about money, not particularly sometimes the amount you have, but that you have a consistent flow of it, right?
Right.
And one thing that you said that also touches on a lot my subject too is just that we have to be educated on this. This is not a subject that we inherently know. We don't come out of the womb understanding how money works. And unfortunately, our entire educational system does not touch on this really either. Less than 4% of the high schools in this country have any kind of personal finance information at all. 4%. That means 96% are not getting it. And the 4% that are, it's pretty marginal at best. I have an MBA in finance. I did not learn about personal finance anywhere through that. That was corporate finance. And maybe it touched a little bit on the time value of money and rule of 72 and all these little things that we all need to know about, but not really. So it's really our responsibility to learn about the things that we need to. Unfortunately, I feel like, and this is my little word that I've coined, I feel like there's a lot of infobesity out there. There's just people can put whatever they want on the internet, and you have no point of reference of if that's valid. And even if it's valid, is it valid for your situation? Because I'll sometimes I do these little seminars called Wealth 101, and I've been doing them in person, but I'm going to start doing them through the internet because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I can't come into your office. And what if I'm not in Atlanta? How do I do that? So we're going to start doing them through some webinars as well. But in those, we talk about, just stuff that we all need to know, right? I mean, that we just don't, it's just not out there. But sometimes I'll have like 8 couples. I mean, usually it's 6 to 8 couples or 6 to 8 individuals. And, if all of them had exactly the same amount of money, the answer of what they needed to do would be totally different because we don't know what their goals and aspirations are. We don't know where they are in the life cycle of their business or their personal or whatever. We don't know if they have kids. I mean, we don't know if they want to leave a legacy to their kids. I mean, it's funny. I've had some people say, I'm spending all of it. I don't care if they get anything. And others are like, so focused on leaving this huge legacy for their next generations. Every bit of that depends on what you're going to do. So when you're reading an article that you pulled up from Forbes or from Money or from whatever, you have to take that information and filter it onto your situation. That's why I feel like sometimes people need what I kind of call myself a little bit of a money concierge. How does this apply to your situation? And the reason I talk about personal finance a lot is because even though my whole perspective, my whole life, I've been an entrepreneur for 27 years, half of my life, I really understand how this all works from the perspective of a business owner, of an entrepreneur. But the thing is, in 27 years, I've never seen a successful business have messed up personal finance. So you have to, it's like trying to build a house with toothpicks underneath it, right? You have to build the foundation first. So if you don't have the personal finance in order, it doesn't matter how great your business is. You can't overcome that toothpick foundation, right?
Yeah. I love that. And I know when I was doing my background on your expertise and, your bio, I think what I really loved about you is that you really do customize your services based upon that entrepreneur, that small business owner, or individual. So it really is about, like you said, their values and what are their end goals. Where do they want to get to? So I love that about you. Yeah.
Thank you. But I think one thing too that happens is, these are pretty complex topics, right? It's not something that we're just like, oh, I know how to do this. But the thing is there's a lot of really smart people, and I'm certainly not saying I'm the smartest person around, although I think I could be. But the breaking it down into a way that people understand is really important, because you don't want somebody like talking at you about this. This is an interactive. If you've got somebody helping you with this, you've got to make sure that there's a rapport, that they're not, it's like kind of if you go to the doctor and they just say all these big crazy words that you don't understand and you have to go look them all up. That doesn't really help you very much. The same thing with the money. It's got to be broken down into real world situations, real world. And I do that a lot through story, which I could say, well, this client, we did this and this, and most people can relate to some part of that story.
Yes, right. And also, talking about money and finances is such a personal thing as well. So, you have to have that rapport with whoever is helping you with, estate planning or financial planning, or there has to be that level of trust there, because it is such a personal thing. And I love how you start as the foundation. So. Yeah. So what, I know I read a little bit about you've got a special bit of information about some tax or tax tips for small business owners, the top 10 or I don't know if you want to share a few of those with us since
the tax law that changed at the end of 2017, which we just really we just went through a whole cycle, the first cycle of tax season with that was the biggest tax law change they've had basically in the 27 years I've been doing it, since the 1986 tax reform, which I was still in college back then, so I wasn't doing taxes back then. But it's huge. And the real winners are those of us, which I think the audience here is mostly entrepreneurs. The real winners are entrepreneurs. Always I've thought that the best vehicle for building wealth, for building a lifestyle, I truly believe in the millionaire next door whole concept, because it really is true. If you're an entrepreneur and you're making $150,000, someone working in a job almost has to make $250,000 to have the same lifestyle as you, because so many things can pull over into that, that you have anyway. You can make personal, right? You can make business from your personal expenses, but the tax law made that even better. There's this really cool thing called the Section 199 deduction that if you're a business, you need to know about and need to know how to maximize. That allows any of us that are sole proprietors, 1099 contractors, if you're in direct sales, if you're a S Corp owner, if you're an LLC owner, anything that's a pass-through, including like even a rental property, up to 20% of that income is at zero tax. And it doesn't get cheaper than zero. Zero is as low as it goes. They don't really pay us back. So you want to make sure that you fit yourself into those parameters. And that doesn't happen if you go and see whoever it is, whether it's me or somebody else, in February of next year. It's too late to do anything for 2019. You need to be really talking and conversing and having a rapport with your financial person. Really, this last quarter is the most important time. Of course, all year long is great, but you still have time between. We're almost at September 4th. We're a third. September 1st. That's a third of the year left. That leaves plenty of time to set up the right kind of retirement plan, to possibly set up a medical reimbursement plan where you could write off 100% of your income, not of your income, but of your medical expenses, to possibly employ your kids. And I've got all kinds of job descriptions of what kids can do, especially college age kids. I mean, because you want to dot the I's and cross the T's. You can't just shift income to your kids for no reason. But if you've got kids in college, I've got a way that you can pay $12,000 of that and get it totally deducted. I mean, but you have to do the work. You have to do the planning ahead of time.
Oh, and you're right. We've got 4 months left. Yeah. Really, 3.5.
That's time. That's plenty of time to meet our sales goals. And, and that's what I often say. I mean, to me, it's a life cycle. It's not only in your personal money, but in, you have to make more money. You have to keep as much as you can of it. And then you have to grow as much as you can of it. And so it depends on wwhere you are in the spectrum of your business and of your life, which one gets more attention. I mean, all of them, it's kind of like you can't make the recipe if you leave one out. I mean, your cake isn't going to rise if you leave out, one thing. So you need to have something going on in all those places. But depending on where you are, like right now I have kids in college. So obviously we're not saving as much as we were before they went to college, because believe me, college is not cheap, even if you saved a lot.
Mine are done now, so I'm right there with you. Weddings are done too, so.
Oh, wow. So you're really behind all the big expenses. I have those to look forward to.
But I love what you just said. Make it, keep it, grow it. Mm-hmm. So, yes. So anyways, what are some ways of keeping it? I think we really focus a lot on making it.
Right, exactly. And I love that. And of course, sales are 100% important. Because if you don't have the top, you can't worry about what's coming out at the bottom. But that's only half the story. And sometimes I'm not sure it's really the best half of the story, right? I think it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you have at the end, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, because there's a lot of broke millionaires out there. I mean, that are, have $1 million in sales, but there's nothing to show for it at the end of the year. That's not success to me. I mean, to me and I've even redefined wealth to be different than, of course we want to have assets, right? But to me, wealth is having income that exceeds my monthly expenses, including savings, right? That is not 100% dependent on me going into my job. I mean, because I own a business, but if I'm not there, certain things don't happen. That still feels a little bit like a job. You want to have some kind of a passive income, be it from your investments that you have now accumulated from your work, be it from, programs, membership groups, just some kind of recurring revenue or you have such a great team working on your business that it doesn't require your day-to-day presence. That to me is true wealth. When the money is coming in to cover your outflows, including savings, that you don't actually have to show up. You could go for 4 months on the Appalachian Trail. You can travel the world. And that's wealth. Very few people get to that level of wealth. Now, as far as having, I have $2 million in the bank, or I have $10 million in the bank, or whatever, people get to that. But if you still have to hustle to meet your monthly expenses, is that truly wealth?
Right. Yes.
But the keeping it part, I got off track there a little bit. But the keeping
part, it's something that a lot of us are striving for. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Be in that position. Yeah.
But the keeping part is really about the strategies. Is about and I think there's 3 areas there. There's and this is a lot what I'm going to talk about, which we'll tell them when I'm going to be there live. But you have to have the right structure for your business. You have to have the right systems, and you have to have the right support. All of those are important. And again, it's like your fingerprint. It depends on, everybody has a different fingerprint. It depends on your business model. It depends on where you are in the business. Are you in the beginning mode? Are you in the growth mode? Are you in the scale mode? Every single one of those things are different during those, but you have to have the right structure, the right systems, the right support.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, just the way you're laying it out there, makes a lot of sense. And for me personally, within my own business, has given me some aha moments, like, okay, let's take a look at structure. Let's take a look at my systems and the support that I currently have. So yes, because I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching this with us right now, we know how to make it, but do we know how to keep it and grow it? So yeah, love that. So I know you are coming to Cincinnati here soon on Wednesday, September 4th. Right. You'll be in the greater Cincinnati area.
I'm checking the date. That is right.
Yeah. And you are a special guest speaker at eWomen Network Cincinnati.
Right. I was going to tell you what I'm talking about too. Let's see.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that you are going to be in town. So if there's anything, I mean, if they need, want just additional information, because I know this subject matter is so vast, and there's so many more golden nuggets that you're going to be sharing with us. So I want to make sure that you all know that Deborah will be here in Greater Cincinnati. We'd love to see you in person. And then you can also get additional information. So I think what we'll do is we'll post the link below with all the information on September 4th, so that you can hear more and learn more from Deborah Daniel, because money is something that we should talk about, and it is so important to our business. So
that is kind of my mission a little bit, Carol, is to change the conversation about money a little bit. I often say it's kind of odd how in our families, you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table, your extended family, all 30 of you, and the kids table and everything, and no one is talking about money. No one is talking about what they're doing for investment, or how they're earning their money, how, strategies they're using. And I don't know if it's because there's so much money shame built into our society. And it's not shame because you don't have enough a lot of times. Sometimes it's shame because you're making too much, or you feel like you're making too much compared to other people. I mean, that's odd to me that someone can say almost like a raunchy, off color, sex joke, and everybody laughs about it, but people won't talk about what they're doing for their investments and how they're building their future. When the reality is rising tides raise all boats. As we do better, especially from women. I'm not dissing the men, because I love men. I love my husband. I love my son. But the reality is there's all kinds of studies around the world where as women's economic power grows, their families, their communities, and frankly, the world as a whole raises its standard. So we have to change the conversation and really change that and really start talking about it.
Absolutely, which is why I invited you to be our guest today here at beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. And I know you and I are both huge eWomen Network fans of Sandra Yancey, and she is on a mission to create and help support 1 million women earning $1 million in revenue annually. So I know I would love to be on that mission. I am on that mission, and I know you are as well, which is why I thought it was so important for us to have this conversation and to change that stereotype, and to change how we talk about money. And because you're absolutely right. I just think about, the impact that women can have globally, nationally and globally, if they're financially successful personally, the impact that they can have within their families, their communities, and the economic growth factor and impact that can exponentially really improve everywhere. So
it really is a 1 + 1 = 3 situation. That's why I actually am talking next week here in Atlanta to not a business group, but a women's group, Johns Creek Women's Business. And I'm talking about financial confidence, because the thing is, the more confident we are about anything, the more comfortable we are making decisions. I mean, there's all kinds of study too about how decision making, you have like a certain amount of decision making capacity in a day, just over. And if you know what your non-negotiables are, your money non-negotiables, and you have that confidence in knowing that you can earn more money and that you are set financially, it makes all those decisions so much easier. Like I always try, when I work with clients, I'm like, so what are your money non-negotiables? What are things that you're always going to spend money on? I have a couple things that, to me, there are 4 things that I consider to be success in life. I'm just downloading a ton of stuff to you guys, but I think there's 4 areas. Our money, of course, which is, how we're going to earn it, our time, our relationships, and our health. So to me, those are my 4 money non-negotiables. Almost, unless it's like, something so crazy you would never think about spending it. If it's going to improve any one of those 4 areas, if I'm going to make more money because of it, or I'm going to save some money because of it, if I'm going to improve my health because of it, if I'm going to improve relationships, like go on a vacation that makes sense, or, networking, I spend a ton of money on that, or if I'm going to get more time, because to me, a lot of times money is really to buy me more time to do the things I want to. If it hits those 4 areas, I'm ready to spend it, unless it's a crazy, if it's outside of those areas, then I have to kind of consider, okay, how is that meeting my 4 pillars of success?
I love
But
that.
you get that only when you have confidence, only when you know, I know what how I'm going to earn this next revenue. I mean, that's the thing that's so cool about business ownership. If, like, say your daughter needs braces and they say, oh, it's $5,000. You can't go, hey, boss at IBM or Bell South or wherever, I need braces for Sally. So I need $5,000. That doesn't work when you work in a job. But if you have a business, if you know what your revenue streams are, you're like, okay, what do I have to sell? What, I need 10 of this, or I need 1 of this, or, and then you are the true, pilot of what's going on in your life. I mean, you go and find the work that's why the making more money is so important, because you got to know how to make it, right? But then it also means if I need 5,000 and I know that I keep about 30 cents of every dollar, that means I got to sell 15,000, so if you increase that percentage that you're keeping, then it changes everything. It's all math. I mean, a lot of the stuff we learn in high school, I mean, gosh, don't tell your kids this, but a lot of the facts that you learn in high school, you're probably never going to use. So math is going to impact you the whole way. Like, how do I get to that number? You have to understand you use math every day, especially money math.
I know you also offer, besides your 101 wealth workshops, you also have some other programs. I believe you have a mastermind group, and you have your upcoming webinars. If there's someone that resonated with all the information that you had to share today, I'd love for them to be able to connect with you.
Sure. Well, there's a couple of ways you can connect with me. If you want to actually have a conversation, I hope I'm saying this right. I believe it's crackyourcashcode.com is a link to my calendar. I will check that and put it in the numbers, because I've got so many different things. But then if you're just wanting to get some personal financial education beyond with the Wealth 101, which is like an hour-long thing, but this is a 12-week course that I go through that talks about credit, that talks about budgeting, which I don't like the word budget. I call it money plan. That feels like you're more in control there, right? It's kind of like, I'm not on a diet, I'm on a healthy eating plan, but it's working. But doesn't that feel more empowering than to say budget? I mean,
because the budget word I struggle with.
It feels so restrictive. Like, you can't have, like, a diet, you can't have this. But if you're in a healthy eating plan, or if you're on a money plan, that's totally different. But we go through it, so it's like 12 weeks live with me on Zoom, where I'm actually answering the questions and stuff like that. And I actually still have the link up. When I was at eWomen Network Conference, I was offering that at usually the course is $19.97. I was going to do it for $9.97 for the conference, but I went ahead and did it for $4.97 for the conference. And I still have that link up at moneywithoutlimits.com. And I'll honor that through the end of the month. But that is, and then the other thing that I have that's going on that I love, I've been doing these live masterminds here in Atlanta, called Insider Circle Brain Exchange. And so I've just now launched, starting in September, I'm going to have some virtual groups. And so those are on my website as, I believe it's brainexchange.com, which I'll put all these links in there. That is a really cool, and that kind of falls under the support and also the make more money kind of section of, of the systems and structure and everything. Because what I do there is I bring together 8 women. I'm actually going to launch a co-ed one. I've not done a co-ed one before, but I've been doing with women. And so the 8 women all, get a chance to share what's the biggest opportunity or obstacle they've got going on right now. We're not networking. We're actually, really diving into our business. And I love that part where there's group kind of feedback. That's the mastermind part, because if person number 1 says, hey, they need web support, or they need, fixing on pricing, that might be person number 3's number 2 thing that they weren't going to talk about today, but they're going to get the same, they're all going to get to share the information. But so they get a chance to kind of brain exchange between each other. But then I, as a 27-year entrepreneur, kind of take a 10,000-foot view and then kind of group coach them and why that would work for them and why they need to do, different things that I've done and I've seen clients do and help get clients to that 7-figure level. So there's kind of a combination of group coaching and masterminding that people really seem to like. And that's kind of, I think we all need community, and networking gives us a lot of community, but sometimes you need community on a more deep level than you can do just going to lunch, with people and seeing them there. And so people are really liking that. So I'll post the link in there, and I have at least 3 groups already almost full that have spots in them. And there are different times. Like I have one in the afternoon, one in the morning, and one in the evening, so that, depending on your schedule, people can pop in. And there's a lot more to it. If people are interested, they can jump on my calendar to talk about that, or, of course, Facebook me. I answer Facebook Messenger all the time, and we'll post some other ways to get in touch with me.
That's fantastic. Well, Deborah, I cannot wait to see you live on September 4th here in Greater Cincinnati. And thank you so much for sharing your expertise and all of these golden nuggets regarding money. And we do need to have conversations, and I look forward to continuing our conversations as well. So thank you so much, Deborah.
Looking forward to it. Hope to see you all on September 4th.
Okay, and we'll look forward to you posting all of your links below with all of your upcoming programs. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol.
All right, take care.
Thanks. Bye.